Welcome back to
It's a Girl Thing. We're back in the studio.
We are.
It's actually so cute in here.
I know, it literally looks like a little house.
Do you...
It does.
Wish my house looked like this.
I know, we've got windows, we've got curtains.
I want that olive tree, which
I
you won't be able to
know.
see, but I want it. Also, didn't take the stairs today from the train station, so feeling fresh as a
You're
daisy.
feeling fresh, you're looking fresh.
How are you feeling?
The opposite. I did a classic meet. In fact, no, let's get straight into our fave.
Fuck up of the fortnight. We're doing it first.
Because I've just got too many fuck ups to talk about that I can't wait because I know you're going to bring them up. So I just had to get straight to it.
I love that this is going to be mostly an episode of fuck ups, but I also hate it.
Why?
Because why do we fuck up so much? Like, give us a break.
I know. But you know
Not
what?
a week goes by where I'm not jotting something down in my notes.
I know. But then we get DMs and people are like, it makes me feel better about myself. So I'm like, well, I'm glad to be of service. Basically, first fuck up, well, this isn't in order, but fuck up today was...
A fresh one.
A fresh fuck up was that I left America on Wednesday. So
it's Thursday today.
Dummy dum-dum over here just assumed I landed on a Wednesday. Didn't think about time differences.
What time was your flight?
I know, don't. Because when you fly the other way, look, I've just worked at the biggest event of our whole calendar year. I'm exhausted. But when you fly the other way, like I left at like, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the UK and flew for 10 hours.
Oh, and you got there like similar time.
Exactly. But
doesn't work.
It doesn't work the other way. I've worked quite the opposite and it's Thursday. And then I realised on the flight, wait, I land on Thursday. And then I was like, it's still fine because I land at like 9 a.m.
Did you have the day off today?
Yeah.
Okay, phew.
It's still fine because I land at like 9 a.m. I was with all my colleagues anyway. And then I was like chatting on the plane and my colleague was like, no, we land at like 2 p.m. And I was like, what? I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, like do the maths. And I was literally like, I'm recording the flipping podcast. Then we come out. The baggage doesn't come out for literally an hour.
Of course. It's always when you really
house.
want it to come quick, it doesn't.
I got back to my house 2 hours ago. I've not slept and here I am. So there's fuck up number one.
I was texting you, I think it was this morning, saying like,
but none of them
all
were going
good,
through
all
it.
good for the pod. And it was like, silence.
One tick.
Yeah, and I was like, are we all good?
Literally. And I hadn't even told Elliot. I walked in the front door and he was like, my love, I haven't seen you for a week. And I was like, yeah, I've got 2 hours and I'm off to do the pod with Ebony. Like, I haven't eaten. When I was walking here, I was like, I feel kind of
my bags
faint,
of crisps. I just bought
good.
2 share bags and I ate them all.
Girl, I love. I was surprised it was Doritos. I thought I'd see a little Walker's.
Oh, I had them first. You missed out on them.
Nice. Second fuck of the fortnight happened at the event, which I've also got to cover because I'm trying to hide my hands. So
it's the first thing I saw when I saw you. I said,
cute. It's so not
cute.
So it was.
Show the camera.
I will in a second. So
don't be shy.
I can't. Our summits are like that for my real job are like 4 days long, themed evening receptions and stuff like that. Our Tuesday night reception was Moroccan moments.
Lush.
And then the girls, like I sell it and then there's another team that organise it. And the girls that organise it were like, oh, we got a henna artist and no one's using her. And I feel bad. She's just sat there. I was like, I'll go over and use her. I sit down.
Now you know why they didn't use her.
Well, I sit down and I was like, hi, sorry, no one's been coming over. I'll get people to come over. I was like, just like, put my hand out and she was like, what do you want? And I was like, oh, you know those like cute little dots that people have like tattooed on their fingers now? It looks like a child has attacked me with a Sharpie. That's also, why are they so dark and nobody else's henna turned out this dark?
Are the arrows okay?
So my friends said I look like an airbender, whatever that is. Like, I cannot.
They don't know what direction they're going.
So I sit down and I'm like, put my hands out. You know, I was like, those cute little dots like people get tattooed on their hands. She goes and does one really big dot. And I was like, I'm too far in to ask her to stop. So I'm like, how long have you been doing henna? And she was like, I've never done it before. The company that I work for just asked if I fancied giving it a go. And I was like,
really couldn't tell.
oh, right. No, but I'm like, how can you not do a dot? How can you not do a small dot? Anybody doesn't take a henna artist to do a small dot. I was on the train today and I was so hot and I put gloves on because I was like, I don't want people to be looking like, I'm so embarrassed. The worst part, I go to her, how long can I expect this to last? She was like, about 2 to 3 weeks. And I was literally like, I have a photo shoot. Like,
oh no.
I love that you're laughing. That you're like, 2 weeks today, so I'm going to be scrubbing.
Maybe you could put some like white spirit on. So
apparently lemon juice, but you know, I just literally walked to the door, showered and walked straight back out the door.
That's what somebody said to put on my fingers when I super glued them. Lemon juice. Didn't have it to hand, so can't tell you whether it worked.
But if you think I appear tired, exhausted, bit flat, bit weird hands, there's my reasons. Tell me your fuck up. Thank you.
Oh, my fuck up. It feels funny starting the episode with
I know,
a fuck
it feels
up,
like we're about to
But
end.
Otherwise, people would be questioning
What's
your hands
this?
the entire episode.
I'm so embarrassed.
My fuck up sums me up like perfectly.
I love.
The best of fuck ups ever sum me up.
Tell.
So I'm at football on Sunday.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it's really cute. We all go to the clubhouse. Sometimes there's cake if it's someone's birthday. It's cute. My kids came to football this week and they were like off playing with the other kids.
I saw on Instagram. It was so cute.
So cute. And then we got to the clubhouse and then all the little kids went and like sat in the corner, you know, when it was like, we get our own table, and they were just loving it.
Cute.
So they were off doing their own thing. And I'm sat in like a circle. And then this mum that I've not seen before, well, I don't recognise her. She must have been there before, but I didn't recognise her. She goes, oh yeah, my kids go to the same school as your kids, but they're in year 6. And I was like, oh, that's why I didn't recognise them. And I said, oh, I've not seen you at school before. And she goes, I've seen you. And I was like, have you? And it like she said it really like there was something coming. She goes, yeah, I've seen you making your kids sandwiches in the boot of your car.
Oh my God. First of all, how dare you?
No, it was iconic.
Did she laugh?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought she was like
wasn't
shaming.
Saying it was sassy. She was like, because she said, she started it with something nice. She said, you always look nice in a tracksuit. And I wonder, why can't I look nice in a tracksuit?
I always think that as well.
And then she said, but it was brought back to reality when I saw you make sandwiches in the car.
I'm obsessed.
And I remember
that
this
day
day
be me as a mum as well.
Perfectly. I was like rushing, getting them out the door. I was like, we're always late. I was flustered.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we've got nothing for your lunch boxes. Pulled up at Co-op, had to buy a big loaf of bread, butter, ham, crisps.
God.
And
why didn't you just buy them pre-made sandwiches from Co-op?
Because they're fussy and they don't like them.
Even if it was just like ham and cheese?
No, they say they're too buttery. So there I am.
I kind of know what they mean.
Buttering bread in the boot of the car.
I love.
And I just sat there and I thought, yeah, that is me.
You're like, yeah,
down
you
to
have
a
seen
T.
me.
Yeah, that's me. You defo seen me.
There's no way you can be like, doesn't sound
no, that
like
wasn't
me.
me.
You're like, I see that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, obsessed.
That's my fuck up of the
I thought you were going to
fortnight.
say, because you were like setting the scene with a kids table, and obviously you're quite small. I thought you were going to say that someone came over like, the children's table. For that, and you were going to be like,
at the wrong table.
My kids are literally in school.
Do you want me to take your fruit shoot?
Like when we were in Greece.
What?
The woman was like, a child is pregnant, and I was like, how dare you? That was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know
But
how
then she
young
loved
she
you.
thought I was, but I'll take it.
Slay, I mean, it
Slay.
keeps the wrinkles away. Absolutely. I love.
Slay.
We've kind of got a whole ep of fuck ups today, which we're obsessed.
So we just woke up one morning to a text from one of our best friends saying, what's the biggest lie you've told someone and had to keep up with? It was so out of the blue.
How is this our group chat? I was literally like, I'm too busy to ask
I think it had
this
been a bit
question.
tumbleweedy in the chat. And I
Had,
think
but
she was
I've been
trying to
away. You've
start
been
a
busy.
combo.
Yeah.
But Jess inspired the topic of today's episode, which is what is a lie you've told and had to keep up with, which I think is iconic. And I've realised I've lied so many times this week. I'm a big fat liar.
Really?
Yeah, but like white lies, nice ones. Like nobody's getting hurt from my lies.
The opposite.
Really? No, you told the henna lady you liked her.
No, I did not. I just went, thank you.
No.
I was just but even that isn't a lie I have to keep up. Like,
yeah, true.
I always will tell little white lies, like, I don't know,
I love a little white
the train
lie.
was delayed, but I don't have to keep up with that, you know.
True.
Like, we're thinking about lies that you actually have to commit to.
Yeah. Can I tell you a lie I told yesterday?
Yeah.
I told the train man I was pregnant. So that I could sit in first class.
I'm obsessed.
And I thought, I hope I don't see him again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was so busy and I paid like £60 for my train. There was no seats.
Do they not? So on ours, because it's so busy every day,
Mm.
the man always says over the tannoy, or woman, I never have a female train lady,
Mm.
but the man always says, first class is declassified because we're too busy, and then everybody just runs to
Really?
sit in first class.
No,
Yeah.
I've never had that.
Really?
But I was sat on the floor and I was thinking, there's one man in first class. He doesn't need a carriage to himself. He's
Absolutely
not, he's not the king.
Absolutely not. Get out.
So I sat in there.
Good for
And
you.
the man came along and said, can I see your ticket? And I said, oh, do you mind if I sit in here? Because I'm actually pregnant.
I'm in disbelief. Like, I did not have you down as saying that.
Yeah, it's because
I thought
one
you'd
time
say something like, I'm really not feeling well.
No, preggers.
Yeah, they can't say
Bun in
anything
the
about
oven.
that. Absolutely.
He's not going to tell me I'm lying.
No, he's
He's
not.
not going to ask for proof.
No. And apparently you feel your worst when you don't even look pregnant. Like, that's the worst part. So what's he going to say?
If anyone wants to use that little lie, you
No.
can take it for free.
Pregnant ladies are probably listening thinking, how dare you?
Whoops.
Let's not be using that lie.
Okay,
but
well,
also
it was
hilarious.
It was
that you did.
needed.
I'm obsessed. I was like racking my brain trying to think of a lie. To be honest, we picked this topic
Yesterday
and I was working. But I've got a solid one that I had to keep up for a whole year,
Go on.
which was awful. So I always through school, Elliot's really mad about this. I told him today and he was like, we're not doing this for our children. My mum always did my homework for me because you know what I'm like, I never get anything done.
Was that why you... Well, no, because you're naturally clever.
At science and maths, not at creative subjects. So my English homework my mum used to do, and one time she wrote a story so good that the teacher called her in to say, have you written this story?
I bet your mum was like, yeah, she is pretty good.
She's amazing.
Her creative writing
the teacher
is
was
good.
like, this level of imagination, I was like 12, is like very advanced. So like I need to know if Lucie is like a child prodigy or if you've written her homework. I don't know
Did
what
your
she
mum
said. I don't know.
fib still? She went along with the fib.
Probably. But then
on,
another
Lynn.
time
Lynn loves a white lie too.
she loves a little white lie.
How did you get your mum to do that? And I couldn't get my mum to give me a lift to school.
You know Lynn. Lynn goes above and beyond for me all the time. But the one that takes the cake
Yeah.
is my textiles GCSE. I feel like illegal saying this. I got an A star in textiles.
Did you?
And Gemma Newman's mum
Told.
I
thought you were about to say one of the other mums dobbed in your
Gemma Newman's
mum.
mum did my whole textiles GCSE.
How have you done this?
I used to, and my teacher knew, but I literally barefaced lied to her for a year. I'd go into class and I was making a Queen of Hearts costume because you have to make costumes for our final. And I would sew the worst costume you've ever seen in your life, go home and be like, I'm going to work on it at home. And it would come back unreal every week. She used to be like, what is going on? Because
you can't do a cross stitch.
Like you can't do this in the class. And then suddenly, and I was like, I get very overwhelmed in class. I find it very difficult with all this noise around me. And I've got a better sewing machine at home, and like that I'm making up all these lies for a year. And Gemma's mum literally did the whole thing, and I got an A star for it, and it still sits with me this day.
Oh my God.
I
I thought you were about to say, and it's still framed in my house.
I have got it under my bed, and the whole portfolio as well that she used to help me with. I used to
don't know
leave school, go to Gemma's house, and her mum would do both of our textiles.
I'm not sure how you've roped in your mum and someone
Gemma's
else's
I
mum.
know.
That's
Crazy.
madness. My lie that I had to keep up for not a year, but for a duration of time was also when I was in school, but I was in primary school. I just didn't want to be in my class that day. I just thought, nah, sod this. I want to go home. I'm probably year 4. So what's that, like 7?
Is it? Yeah,
Something like
something like that.
And I thought, I'm getting out. I'm getting out of here. So then I asked to go to the toilet, and there was one of those fountains where you push it down and the water spurts out in the hallway. And I just splashed a bunch of water on the floor. And then I just laid on the laid on the floor as if I just slipped and really hurt myself.
This is giving like cartoon. Nobody slips on water like that. You cannot
but I'm
tell
like
me
7.
the teachers believed this.
Wait, so I'm laying on the floor. I was laying there for ages, it felt like. And then I just went, ow.
I'm obsessed.
Ow.
Oh my. Wouldn't you just be like, miss? Ow. This is the worst acting I've ever heard. Well, you're not a child prodigy in acting, I'll tell you that.
So then the teacher comes out. She's like, what's happened? And I'm like, I slipped. I can't see.
Oh my God, she's gone dramatic.
I can't see. Can you call my mum? And the teacher's obviously knows I'm lying out my arse.
Really?
Well, I assume so. So then
they can't take a risk with the loss of vision.
I know, and I kept that lie going.
Damn.
She said, see how you get on. It's nearly lunchtime.
I love she's probably like, follow my finger, and you're like,
what?
I can't see.
What finger? She's like, get to lunch, see how you feel. So then I go to lunch. And I purposely walk into like...
Oh my God. You deserve to go home just for the performance, honestly.
Well, I'd committed. So I was like, I've got to walk into stuff now.
100%.
So I literally am walking full pelt into like tables and chairs.
I could see it because I know it would be the worst acting you've ever... Whoops! You'd be getting other kids like, can you help me to the lunch? I can't see.
I can't see. I'm blind.
I love it.
So then eventually they were probably fed up of me, to be honest.
Get her out
then
of
they
here.
called my mum. My mum came to pick me up. Drove home. I pretended to be blind the whole way to the
Your
car.
mum would have known you were lying. When we look at Daisy and Hudson, like we know when they're lying.
Yeah. And then finally got home. My favourite food was cheesy pasta. We get through the door. My mum goes, do you want cheesy pasta? And I go, yeah. And I'm like dancing around.
Did she do it as a trick?
She was like, oh, are you better now? And I was just so embarrassed.
Oh my God. I'm so shocked. I had you down as more of a goody two-shoes as this.
Well, I am, but I didn't want to be in that school, so get me out.
Really?
Blinded.
Did you hate that school?
No, I liked it, but that day... Didn't like it. Wanted to go
I
home.
can actually see Daisy doing this though.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
what's
That's
making me laugh more because I can literally imagine her doing it.
I know.
That's hilarious.
Shall we read DMs?
Yes. You guys sent us your lies and I've like some of the ones that have come in, I'm obsessed with.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a girlie that's written in. When she was 19 to 21, she lived in South Korea.
Ooh.
Crazy. I've always wanted to go there. Basically went clubbing every night. Slay. That was my 19 to 21 as well. Anyway, everybody that she met there was really cool and could speak multiple languages. And she was like, why can I not speak multiple languages? Which is how I felt when I was backpacking. Because you meet so many Europeans. They're like, oh, yeah, I can speak
like
French, Spanish, Italian, English. And I was actually like, I can barely speak English properly, but fine. So she would get really drunk and say, well, I can speak Spanish, which our friend Spencer at school always, when he was drunk, used to tell people he could speak Spanish.
And he would just do the most ridiculous fluent thing.
But it sounds like Spanish.
Spanish.
This girl can do the same thing. So she was like, I would get drunk and pretend I could speak Spanish. I was making absolutely no sense, but to all of them, they thought I could speak Spanish and was like...
So nobody else could speak Spanish?
No. Lucky, I guess. One night there was an issue in the bar that they always went to, and one of the bar staff asked her to help because the guy that was having like a medical issue was Spanish. She freaks out, grabs her friend and was like, we have to leave immediately, ran out the bar.
She's like, that's it, we're done.
Yeah.
We're going home.
This poor man having a medical issue. And she's like, I'm out.
Bounced.
And then the next time she went back to the bar, she went over to order a drink and the barman was like, only if you admit that you cannot speak Spanish. And she was like, I'm never going back to that bar ever again. She never went back. I love that
That's
so
iconic.
much.
She's like, yeah, I speak many languages.
I would it's this like really rural part of Spain and they have like a different dialect. Like he's not going to understand me.
This person, it's a boy. Yeah, it's a boy thing.
Alert, we have a male listener. Really?
Yeah. This guy says, I got kicked out of college after my first year but didn't tell my parents.
I think that a lot of people have that.
That's so sneaky.
Yeah.
I want to know why he got kicked out.
Yeah.
He said, so for the whole second year, I carried on going to college, but I just went bowling or to the driving range with my friends. Then when it was time to do exams, I pretended that they really didn't go very well and that I failed them all. My parents didn't find out until like 10 years later.
Oh my God.
I think I'd take that lie to the grave.
I am
wonder how it
really
came
bad
out.
at lying to my mum and dad. I couldn't lie to them for 10 years. No way. Also, I'm just bad at lying in general.
You
I
wouldn't
talk
need
too
to.
much.
Your mum would have done your...
I wouldn't have been kicked out because
Yeah.
mum would have done it all. Yeah, true.
This person says, my nail lady started calling me Kelly.
With this already.
My name is Kate. For a start, I corrected her, but eventually I got fed up of correcting her, so I'm now known in the salon as Kelly.
Does she call off and book for Kelly?
That's too good. Now my friend and sister go to her too, and the whole shop think I'm called Kelly. My sister and friend also go along with it when they're asked how Kelly is.
Oh my God.
She told me the other day, the nail lady, I saw you and I called you across the street, but you didn't.
Kelly.
Kelly's not listening.
Why can Kelly not hear me when she's literally right there? Oh my God, I love that so much.
Oh my God, that just reminded me. Went to the nail place the other day.
Yeah.
Walked
I was going to say they
in.
look really nice. Check the camera. You made me show mine.
Walked in. I hope this person's not listening. Who knows? I walked in and someone goes, Ebony. And I was like, hello. Zero clue who this person was. And it wasn't like someone who watches or listens to the pod. It was like an adult. And she was like, how's this? How's the marathons this week? And I was like,
No, I know what this is.
What?
So when my auntie was like flustered one day at the shopping centre in Manchester where they live, she saw Hayley from Coronation Street, which is obviously her character's name. But my auntie's running along doing the shopping, and she was like, hey there, hey, because like, my auntie's got a strong Mancunian accent. I love you, all right. Literally shouting Hayley at this woman who is not called Hayley in any way, shape or form apart from on telly. And my auntie said that she was really nice and was like, hi. And my auntie's like, how's things? All going okay with the cafe and stuff?
Oh,
she runs a cafe on Coronation Street. And then my auntie like ran off and then
it clocked.
And only when she was driving home was she like... So I think somebody's seen you, knows you from Instagram and stuff, and is just like having a flustered day and it's like, Ebony.
Well, we had a great chat, whoever it was.
Well, you went along with it. So that works with today's theme. I love that. I had a little thing with my new nail guy recently when we were talking about our age and I said I was 32, even though I was only 31 at the time, because I was about to be 32. And he was like, oh, are you 1992 then? And I'm not, I'm 1993. And I went, yeah. But then it was my birthday like 2 weeks later. So he was like, oh my God, so you're 33 now? And I was just like, yeah. And now I'm like, he just hopefully never brings up my age again.
This girl says, I, in real life, have terrible sinus issues. And when I met my boyfriend, I was going through a flare-up. He could not, for the life of him, contain his farts. You will never understand that. You always say, I don't get that.
I don't get it. And I would... We've both had a bad day of farts. With today, your person on the train kept farting.
Me. I was like, don't expose me.
No, your train person kept farting.
Yeah, someone on a packed train.
Someone on a packed plane kept farting. And I was like,
do that?
This air is circulating for 10 hours. Like... Have some respect.
Your fart is going into my lungs.
I'm going to be sick.
Well, she says he couldn't hold his farts.
He
had zero control over them. And he mentioned a few times, that he was famous in his friend group for having smelly farts. Anyway, I said at the time that I couldn't really smell them because I had bad sinus problems, which at the time was true. but also because I didn't want him to feel self-conscious. Cut to a few months later, after a round of antibiotics, sinus issues have gone, but the stinky farts remained. I had to pretend every time that he wasn't nearly passing me out.
Don't pretend. Tell him. I tell Elliot.
Then she says, life lesson here is that if someone smells like they're rotting inside, they genuinely are rotting. And then she says in brackets, we broke up recently.
Oh. You know what, though? I think when you don't really love someone,
those things become worse.
That's just disgusting.
Yeah,
when you love someone,
I can tolerate it.
But when you don't, it's like, that's disgusting. Get away from me, girl. Oh, sorry you broke up, but it sounds like it's for the best.
Best for her health.
Yeah, her
environment,
nasal passages or whatever. Okay, I love this one because it has reminded me that I actually did the exact same thing as well. So she said she once made her sister a Betty Crocker chocolate cake for her birthday. You know, like
classic
the box
in the box, yeah.
The next year she messaged me saying the cake was so delicious and she'd love me to make it again. She told everyone how amazing her sister's chocolate cake is. For some reason, I didn't want to tell her it was Betty Crocker. So now every year I have to make her a Betty Crocker chocolate cake and pretend it's my secret homemade recipe. It's been about 10 years. And
oh my God.
I love that so much because my brother makes the best chocolate cake. And when I was, it must have been when I was living at home or something for him to, maybe it was when I was at school, but that seems too young. I can't remember the time period it was, but I used to make my friends a birthday cake, and he would just keep making it because his chocolate cake is so good.
You've got some magic powers. You're just getting people to do stuff for you.
I do. I don't know how this episode's not framing me very well, but and then I just used to be like, oh yeah, I've made you this chocolate cake, and literally people used to be like, your chocolate cake is the best chocolate cake, and I'd be like.
This girl says, I told my ex's family that I didn't eat roast potatoes and had to spend every Sunday eating dry mashed potato with my
But why did she tell them she doesn't eat roast potatoes?
Yeah, but do you know what I can imagine that is? When you're like, oh yeah, they're okay. They're not my favourite. And then like the boyfriend's mum's probably been like, she doesn't really like them. I'm going to make her mash. Yeah. And then every week being like, I've made these gorgeous,
crispy roast potatoes. Like, oh my God.
And then she said, I've got no clue why I said it, but I was in way too deep into the lie to admit I did actually like them. It went on for about 3 years until one day I tried them for the first time and suddenly loved them. So, I haven't told you about the half marathon.
Oh my God.
It was a slay.
Did you poo yourself?
Well, this is what I wanted to tell you. I got so scared after that conversation about runner's belly that...
You took Imodium.
Stocked up.
Popping Imodium before.
Popping
legit. Wait, you actually took it or you just had it with you?
No, I took it. I was scared. But...
So then you couldn't go for poo for like a week?
Get this, right?
Get this. I'll tell you for why.
Before the half marathon, I was like panicking.
Yeah.
I was like, if I get a bellyache, what am I gonna do? By the way, there's no toilets the whole way around.
There was at the Bournemouth one.
Well, not in little old Wokingham.
No
toilets apart from at the beginning and the end. Bad. I was like, emergency. But anyway,
that's really bad.
Yeah, at the beginning, before we got there, I said to Michael, I'm just getting ready.
Does Michael still not know you have stomach problems?
No, he's starting to know. I'm just sprinkling in a little bit of knowledge.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I love that the podcast listeners know more about your...
Don't want to scare him off. But I said to him, can you pop over to Co-op and get some Imodium? He goes, what's that? I was like...
Blessed people that don't need to know.
What an existence.
Yeah.
A life not knowing what Imodium is. I just looked at him like, beg your pardon? And he said, what is it? And I was like, you've never
Imagine
in your
if he came back with
years.
Ibuprofen.
Well, yeah, there's people out there that don't know what Imodium is. It could never be me.
Neither.
But anyway, I was blocked and ready to go.
I'm obsessed.
But it was actually well fun. Me and Jess had a great time.
I love that, like, it was well fun. And when I texted you afterwards, you were like, my knee was in agony. I thought I couldn't do it.
It was really fun until the last 5K, and then I actually could have sobbed.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't believe you found it fun.
Yeah, it was really fun until like that last bit. And then that evening, I like was being a baby.
Really?
Yeah, turned into a whingy. I would not have wanted to be around me.
Fair.
I did see a few people that I dated whilst running, and I
thought,
slide away.
I thought it was only one. You saw a few.
Yeah, in the crowd.
Oh, they were there for you. They were holding up signs. I feel like you're either a kind of person that this happens to or you're not, or you just either pay attention or you don't.
Or we just have similar hobbies.
I never see anyone, ever. My friend Jenny sees every person she's ever met at the most random places, and you're exactly the same.
Yeah.
Always dating people for you, though.
Yeah.
Well, we've already done our fuck ups, but we have to round the episode up on more fuck ups. So you've got somebody else's for us.
Yeah, I think I've got 2 actually. I love that people send in their fuck ups because I'm like, okay, few. It's not just us. Jinx. This person says, this isn't the fuck up of this week, but it's a fuck up that she thinks about regularly.
Oh, God.
She said, last year, one day I got to work super early, and outside our lobby, they had put up this massive, gorgeous Christmas tree. Naturally, I decided to take a picture, and then I noticed a guy sleeping underneath it. My heart shattered on the spot. I crouched down all concerned and was like, hey, how are you? Can I get you something? A coffee, breakfast? And the guy looks at me dead in the eyes and goes, nah, I'm all right, thanks. I've got a big day putting up these trees.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Why did you think he was asleep?
I guess he was laying on the floor doing something at the bottom.
Oh my God. I'm obsessed. I think it's okay. I think she would have just seemed like a nice, considerate worker.
You can just imagine a tradie being like, nah, you're all right, love.
You're all right, darling.
God, busy day.
I'm literally obsessed with that.
So funny. That one really
That
made
would
me laugh.
literally repeat in my mind for the rest of my life.
When my twin girls were 3 years old, they burst in the bathroom whilst I was removing my menstrual cup. They were concerned and asked me what the F was going on. Brackets, not an exact quote. Being the forward-thinking millennial parent I am, I decided the best course of action would be to be honest and explain periods in a simple way, and they seemed to understand. Later,
At 3? That's impressive.
yeah, I'm not going to say what my kids say. Later, I was getting them ready for swimming class in a communal changing room. My daughter shouted really loudly, Mum, have you still got a bottle up your bum?
Oh my God.
She said I nearly died on the spot.
I would want the ground to swallow me up. I would never go back to that swimming pool ever again.
Have you got a bottle up your bum?
So she works night shifts and she has a toddler who's almost 2. As a young mum, you never think this is going to happen to you, but I guess it can happen to any mum. So she hadn't really heard about the pod before and found it recently and has been binging it her whole night shift.
Fun.
But literally, love you guys, is finding it hilarious. And the other night, she was finding it so funny that she had to laugh out loud. She couldn't hold in the laugh. And it caught her by surprise that she started to wet herself because she was laughing so much. And then she had to sit on the floor because she actually started literally wetting herself. And now and she had to tell her co-workers because she's literally started to wet herself, which she thought only happened to old mums, not young mums. Which I want to know if that's ever happened to you. But now she said, luckily her team have all found it really funny, but they are now on her night shifts keep throwing tenner lady pads at her because she wet herself. What a compliment to the pod.
That is a compliment to the pod, but she didn't do her pelvic floor exercises.
I try and do them all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, because I get really scared about that. Did you do yours?
Well, I never knew. I kept saying to the midwife, I don't understand. How do you know if you're doing it or not? She's like, you just kind of know.
You know.
Well, I don't think I was doing it then.
You kill me. I can't believe you've come to the end of the episode. I feel like we had so much else to talk about. Me and Elliot have applied for a reality TV show, but that's going to have to wait till next episode to talk about
What
that.
a cliffhanger.
I know.
Have they replied?
Yeah. I know. That's why I'm like, I need to tell you, but I haven't got time. So get listening next time, girlies. Hope you enjoyed everybody's lies. Thanks.
It's a good job we're all lying. We're just out here lying.
We're all fucking up. We're all lying. Just rolling with the punches.
Thanks for listening.
I'm going to go and sleep now. Love you all.
I'm going to go get pizza now.
Slay. Bye.